Welcome to Woodshop 101, a woodworking audio podcast geared toward the hobby weekend woodworker. Your hosts for the show are Jeremy Crawford and Drew Shore. Join these two different craftsmen for a lighthearted banter about everything woodworking, online education, and how they produce content. Topics could include the latest news, tips, tricks, and designs, to include furniture, crafts, and shop projects.
Welcome to episode number 45. Tonight we are going to talk about my favorite topic, social media. What's up, Drew? How are you?
Not a lot. Just missing Jeremy, maybe. I don't know.
Jeremy ditched us.
He did. He says he's moving, but I don't know how true that really is.
Yeah, he's really secretly like sitting on a beach with like a beer in his hand, being like, haha, those guys are working tonight.
In a hot garage, no less.
So yeah, today is this is our Fast and Loose episode, so we get to talk about social media in a little short episode. But this is a popular topic. A lot of people ask me lots of questions about this. I'm sure you get a lot of questions too, so I'm kind of excited to talk about this.
Yeah, and this is a pretty big rabbit hole that just about any vlogger or blogger can jump down and get lost. So we've got a set of questions that we're going to kind of stick with, but we'll probably kind of segue into a couple of other subjects, I'm sure, as we talk about it.
Oh, 100%. But, okay, so we do have some questions, like you said, so let's, I guess, jump into them. Actually, this is a great one. So how much time should be spent trying to build your brand? Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
Well, I guess it depends on how much time you have on your hands. With like my current job right now, I don't have a whole heck of a lot of time to build it. The thing that really helps get your brand into the public eye is all the kinds of social media that you can get your hands on. Developing a good brand, like a picture brand that everyone's going to recognize, that you can post on just about any kind of social media, like I said, that you can get your hands on. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, just to name a few. I mean, there's several. When I first started, I found a website that allowed me to upload videos to, I think, 5 or 6 different platforms. I just had to upload it once, and it sent it to everywhere. Only problem is then I had to keep up with all of those platforms for comments and video upkeep and things like that. So that's one way to go about it. Having a website, that takes a lot of time as well. You have to kind of work in your mind how much time you want to dedicate to making your blog topics and blog entries and website upkeep and answering comments and questions from people. You kind of have to set that time aside specifically for those particular tasks. If anywhere, I could say dedicate for small things maybe about an hour a day, sometimes less, maybe 30 minutes if you're kind of struggling for time. But if you're making videos, you might want to break them up like I do if you're limited on time, and pick a time of the day or night that you can dedicate about 2 hours to work on a project/video, and do it for 4 days out of the week and a day for editing. That way you have 2 days out of the week to catch up on anything else or spend it with family. So yeah, I guess it's just mainly what kind of time you have on your hands.
This is like one of those questions where I forgot what movie it is, but like all the math equations like pop up on the screen, and like that's what I feel like, because
it's a beautiful mind.
Yeah, because honestly, like this question, I feel like I formulate 1,000 different things in my head when I hear it, because the reality is like, you are like, okay, I'm only going to dedicate an hour a day, but then you end up like working on a project that takes 5 hours, or you end up scrolling through Instagram and liking hashtags, and then you're like, holy crap, I'm doing that for 45 minutes. How did that happen? So honestly, if you're like most people and you have a full-time job, but this is something that you're really passionate about and you want to do it on the side, try to spend whatever downtime you might have focusing on kind of building that brand. So I'm not going to lie, I love binge watching Netflix. That's like my favorite thing ever. But sometimes I have to put the remote down, because instead of binge watching Orange is the New Black for 2 hours, I could be focusing on building my brand that way. So really, yes, goes back to that same thing Drew said, it depends on how much time you really have. But if it's something you're passionate about, definitely try to put aside a few hours here and there. I would say an hour a day is good, 2 hours a day is good, just to kind of get out there and build it in whatever way you can. The other advice I just want to give real quick is I have met a lot of people who start a brand, spend a lot of hours trying to, build it and expand it and get the word out, and then they get frustrated very quickly because things aren't happening fast enough. Just be dedicated to it and be patient, because it's not an overnight thing. I've been blogging for technically like 4 years. I did take a pretty large break in between there, but technically for 4 years I've been blogging, and I feel like I haven't really seen as much of a massive result as I have in the past year. So if it's something you love, dedicate your time, dedicate your energy to it, because eventually it will be worth it. So that's just where I'm going to kind of leave that one.
Yeah, I would ultimately ask yourself, what is your objective? What is your goal for your brand? Mm-hmm. Are you wanting to do this as a hobby? Do you want to make money at it? You want to do it full time? You just need to ask yourself those questions, and that will ultimately determine how much time you set aside for your business. You really don't want to make it where it's not fun, but if you have a passion for it and you have a goal set in mind on where you want to be in, say, 5 years of doing this particular profession, that's just how you're going to have to gauge how much time you invest. Like for me, I want to do this full time, so I am trying to invest just about every waking moment I have when I'm... social media can be your worst nightmare sometimes, and especially Netflix too. That can be your worst nightmare.
No, it's the best nightmare.
It is good, but it can run your life by pure accident. Like Sam said, you can be, going through Instagram and liking, and then all of a sudden you realize you just wasted an hour of the time that you could be working on a project or doing some upkeep on your website. But just figure out what your goal mindset is for your brand and your channel if you're doing YouTube, and start making goals in your mind of times that you want to set aside. So that's basically the ultimate answer, is figure out your goal. Yeah.
And actually, going on the time piece, our next question is, what about posting schedules? So what are any general rules that we might have for posting schedules? There are a lot of tools out there that you can use that will help you maintain a posting schedule. There are, as I'm saying this, I'm like, what's the one I use? No, but there are apps that you can use that will help you post, and you can schedule certain times for Twitter, for Instagram, for Facebook. You can schedule the hashtags you want to use. So there's a bunch. I'm going to make a list. I'm going to put it on our show notes. I'm having a brain fart right now, right? So I'm going to put it on our show notes though. So if you are interested in looking at one of those options, there will be a list there. We'll give you those. But the reality is that don't stress out about it too much, because there are tools that can help you. I mean, I work 3 jobs and I'm still going to school for my PhD. So there are days when I literally cannot focus on my blog at all. It's those days that I already have a post scheduled in these apps, and it will post it actually at the highest trafficking time for the day. So it automatically does all of it for you.
Nice. I need to know those apps.
Yeah, I'm going to make the list. I'm going to do this for you guys.
Sam probably had a better answer than I did, because I didn't know about apps you could use.
They're really helpful.
I mean, there are suggested days, like on YouTube. They say that Tuesday afternoon, like 2-3 o'clock, is probably the best time to post as far as traffic, which I don't understand why, because Tuesday to me seems like a Wednesday or Thursday. It's a work day. I just don't get it. But in your niche, I guess you can kind of see when a lot of the high profile people are posting, when a lot of the traffic is going to be available on YouTube, like typically Fridays and Sundays on YouTube in the woodworking niche or DIY niche is probably the best time to post a video. Now, the downside of that is if you're not one of the people that they want to watch as a priority, then you kind of have to get put on the back burner until they watch all the ones ahead of time. So you might get watched on, say, Saturday or Tuesday or something like that, which might be why Tuesday is the highest rating, because some people might watch all their other good stuff on the weekend and catch back up on Tuesday. I don't know. But yeah. The apps is a really cool idea.
The same thing though for blogging. Supposedly the best time to post during the week is like Wednesday at noon, because according to the experts, I'll put that in air quotes, the experts who write articles about it and stuff, a lot of people are more likely on their lunch breaks midweek to be fed up and just sit on the computer and like scroll through some stuff that they're interested in. So, I've been posting Mondays and Wednesdays at 12. Instagram, I like to post anywhere between 12 and 5, because if you post at 12, people see it at lunch. If you post around 5, people get off of work. This is crazy. This is what happens when you're a blogger. Like, do you see what I'm talking about right now? Like, I feel like I'm a mad scientist when I talk about these things. But no, like, if you can't schedule things that way, just stick it in the app. I'm going to make the list for you. So let's wipe our hands clean of that one. Jeez. What's the next question? Let's move on.
Let's see. Do you need to be on all social media platforms? And if not, which ones? I don't know. I kind of touched on this on that first question, which I didn't mean to, but I would say, kind of like what I was saying earlier on building your brand, is you kind of have to figure out what your goal is. So if you're really, really trying to work that brand and get your name out there to just about anything and everybody possible, even their dogs, you might want to be on every social media platform you can get your hands on. But the most popular ones that I would stick with for sure is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest even. Pinterest is one of the highest searched platforms, mainly for pictures. So if you post on there, be sure your thumbnails are really, really good. Gosh, I don't know. You could probably use Tumblr, but I don't know how well Tumblr's used, because I'm not really a part of it.
Mike, how does that even work? I don't even use that.
See, I don't know. But yeah, I would just stick with the main big ones, Facebook and Instagram especially. If you're not a big Twitter fan like Jeremy barely knows how to work Twitter. He didn't really utilize it as much, but he's definitely on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest. So definitely go with those three for sure. I don't know. What do you think, Sam?
I'm just thinking about how distracted I get on Twitter. Like, I just write things about like Sour Patch Kids and it's not even relate to anything DIY. But I kind of disagree with you on this one. So I firmly believe in only sticking to a few platforms, because I feel like the more energy and the more you care about expanding your reach on specific platforms, the more genuine it comes across. So, like, for instance, at one point are you sure it's my internet?
I've got a range extender in my garage, so I've got full signal right now, so I don't know. I don't know.
I'm plugged straight into my router. All right. Well, anyway.
Going back.
Going back. Okay, so at one point I was on basically every social media platform. I had Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, which I still have, and I had Pinterest, and I had Google+, and like the list just kept going on, and at some point it just got utterly ridiculous, and I couldn't keep up with all of it. And the reality was that I just, because I was trying to keep up with everything, I couldn't concentrate all of my efforts on like those one or two or three more popular ones. So if you're finding that it's really overwhelming to try to stay in the loop with everything, just don't do it. Honestly, just stick to the two or the three that you really like. And when you do that, your content will be more engaging, more passionate. You will be more engaging with your followers. So like I said, I sort of disagree with you, because I just feel like I would prefer to spend all my effort focusing on the three I like and then being able to engage there. That's just how I feel.
And that's actually a really good point. And I have kind of noticed, and this is something that you could probably put into context too, that I did start out on several different platforms, and I kind of started leaning towards certain platforms that I was more proficient at and got better responses at, and the other platforms that I was on, I kind of digressed from. But in the beginning, yeah, I was trying to plug as much content as I could, but I was noticing, say, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter were pretty much my top three. Pinterest is growing a little bit. I still keep up with it, but the ones that I was getting better responses from and more engagement, those are the ones I tend to concentrate more now on than I do any of the others. And some of the others I don't even touch anymore. So yeah, my efforts and I'm having a brain lock on what I'm trying to say, but what I was doing in the beginning, it was kind of leading into your point that you were making. So I guess you could take it either way, since I don't want to be proven wrong. No.
Well, boo you.
But no, I do really agree with you. I do think that the passion does come through. The more genuine comes through when you're concentrating on a specific audience that you're getting more engagement from.
Yeah. So engagement is the key word for the next one, actually, because the next question is, how do you gain interest and create a following? Okay. So honestly, just stay true to what you're doing. Don't try to be someone else. Don't try to recreate what you see. The reality is that I'll give you a good example before I go into this. So when I started blogging, I was not a personal person. I would just be like, I made this project. Here are the steps. Here's the final product. Have a good day. Like that was my that was like how I blogged. And the reality is that's how I also worked on social media. I didn't ever give like personal anecdotes. I never spoke about me or my goals or why I was passionate about what I was doing. And I had little to no engagement. And then within the past 2 years, I started becoming more personal, sharing my stories, explaining how I learned how to use power tools, explaining why I do what I do, letting people know that I genuinely care that they're following me, letting people know that like I really, really love the people who pay attention to my brand and who want to build with me. And once I started doing that, I saw my engagement and my following skyrocket because people wanted to know who I was. People were interested in learning more about me. People started realizing like I'm not just someone who's pretending that I care and I don't. Like I really genuinely care. So just stay true to what you're doing. Just make it known that what you're doing is out of passion and that you know, you want to share what you're doing with other people and people will genuinely be open to that. So that's just how I feel about that.
Yeah. I was kind of the same way. I was trying to show as much engagement as possible with the people that really wanted to know more about my projects and more about me. I guess they don't feel like a number. So if somebody puts a comment on my video, I tried to make extra dang sure that I was answering as many comments, if not all of them, as I possibly could. So people actually felt that they were being a part of what I was doing, which they are. They have every right to be a part of it because they are watching it. It's because of them that's making my channel a success in the way that it is. So I want them to feel wanted in posting comments and asking me questions so I can give them as much input as I possibly can. Another way to gain the interest and create a following is content. I'll say this. Content is the number one interest creator in either vlogging or blogging. If you're creating videos, content is everything. And I touched on this because we do 2 episodes right in a row. I can't remember if it was our first episode or this one, but the content you create, it's what sets you apart from any other creator out there. What do you bring to the table that is completely different from the rest of the group? And that's going to be very difficult, I've found. I've tried a few different avenues, but if the content that you share is something special, something you can't get anywhere else, you will create a following like none other. It may be completely perfect or it may be a complete flop. You never know until you try it. But creating the content and staying involved with your audience, don't just let them make comments and you just completely ignore them. Stay involved with your audience through comments or emails, anything like that. And you will create that following. It'll spread like wildfire through social media. So,
yeah, just be genuine. Like, it's so easy too for some people to get caught in like the following 1,000 people, and then if they don't follow you, unfollowing back. Like, I've seen that a lot in our circle. I've also seen people buy followers. Just don't do it, because the reality is brands too. If you're interested in working with brands or people who are influencers, like, they're not just looking at how many people follow you. They're going to look at your engagement. They're going to look at the comments people are leaving. They're going to look at the way that you interact with other people. So just be genuine. Just really do. Stick to what you're doing and do it the right way.
It's funny. I was talking to a prior brand about a sponsorship agreement a few months ago, and they had specifically asked me if the persona that I put on YouTube was actually my personality, or if it was...
No.
I was like, really? You think I could fake that every single time?
You're a great actor if you could.
I guess so, yeah. But, I guess just from what you said, brands... They want you to be genuine, and they will ask you basically straight out if this is your persona, your personality, or if you fake it each and every time.
If a brand asked me that, I'd be like, I'm not that funny in real life, so I guess not.
I have a script every time.
But, I mean, if you guys have any other questions that we didn't touch upon, social media, like we said, is a rabbit hole. We could talk about it forever. People always ask a million questions about it, and that's totally fine. Like, really feel free to reach out and ask some more questions. I feel like what we touched here was surface level. We could talk about this for hours if we really wanted to, but we're not going to. So if you guys have questions, make sure you contact us with them. Hey, Drew, want to give them some contact information, maybe?
Well, that was a good segue. I was waiting on that. If you guys want to contact with any kind of questions, you can reach us individually through our own websites at rhwoodshop.com, diyhuntress.com, or countrysideworkshop.com. You get a pen and paper because you're going to need this. A voicemail that we have will allow you to be able to call our podcast, and we will air the question on air and answer it on air. So if that is interest to you, I would suggest writing this down. It's 409-234-3959. I sound like an infomercial. Once again, that number is 409-234-3959. Only $19.95 will get you in. But we also have an email that you can send questions to, which is woodshop101podcast@gmail.com. And the information that you can find any more about the podcast, as well as streaming all of our episodes, you can find at woodshop101podcast.com/listen. There you'll also find some donate information. You can click to donate one time, many times, but whatever you can give is most appreciated. It helps keep the lights on here and will help keep us going for many more years to come, as long as Sam wants to tolerate me and Jeremy.
I love you guys. I don't say it enough, but I love you guys.
Well, we enjoy having you here. You are a great addition. No matter what everybody says about me and Jeremy, you are a great addition. So it's fun to talk to you each and every week, or each and every other week. But we really miss someone when they're not here, like Jeremy. It's just not the same without all three of us. So.
Yeah, this is getting a little mushy. I don't know.
We really want to thank you guys for listening. It's been great so far. So thank you guys for tuning into this episode. Like I said, if you have any more questions, be sure and send them our way. So on behalf of Jeremy, Sam, and myself, we want to wish you guys well. Be safe in your shops, and we will talk to you in 2 weeks with the next shorter episode, or in 1 week with our next long episode. 1, 2, 3. Boom!